What is up, guys? How we doing? I am so sorry I am so late. My schedule is getting really hectic. Uploading is getting difficult. But let's talk about Peacemaker, episode 3. What an episode it was. As always, this is just my opinion on the show. If you have a differing opinion, that is okay. It's just as valid. Comment down below whether you're enjoying the season, whether you're hating it, however you feel about it. Your opinion is valid. And spoilers, this episode opens up with a big spoiler, so make sure you watch the episode or don't care about spoilers. So we open up the episode 3 years ago, and we see Harcourt is actually in bed with Rick Flag Jr., which is a huge deal, which is a huge bomb, because that, changes the entire dynamic of Peacemaker and Harcourt's relationship throughout the entire first season, and shows you, and this moment that Harcourt and Rick Flag had together directly led into the Suicide Squad and his death and everything. And so now we know the backstory of why she's being so reserved and so hesitant and feels so guilty for feeling any of these feelings for the guy that killed her only friend. And then we get to Peacemaker, who at the end of the last episode drunkenly went over to the other dimension so he could send out a text, and I guess he just decided to stay over there, man. And yeah, he wakes up, he gets woke up by his brother, and he's sleeping in Peacemaker 2's bed, and instantly, reads his phone and his conversation from the night before, and Harcourt said, "Meet me at work at noon, don't be late," and he realizes it's 11:35, and he's got to hurry. And we see his wardrobe and whatnot, or Peacemaker 2's wardrobe, and it's like super like Jersey Shore, as he puts it, and made fun of the Kardashians, and I guess they don't have the Kardashians in that universe. Bummer. Yeah, and so Keith is making breakfast, and he is going through and trying to get to Harcourt, and his brother is like, "Hey, what's up with you?" And he's like, "Oh, no, I just, took your advice, and I'm going to talk to her." And I feel like the brother is definitely going to start picking up on something soon, but anyway, we'll get there. And so then Peacemaker goes out to grab a vehicle, but doesn't know what vehicle is his, and goes in and tries to frame it as a pop quiz as to what vehicle he should take, then makes a reference to the Kardashians. We find out they don't exist, and his brother's like, "Why don't you just take the Peace Cycle?" And then we get his motorcycle, which looks like something straight out of Twisted Metal, is what I instantly thought. Like, wow, imagine Peacemaker in Twisted Metal. That would be interesting. Yeah, it's got missiles. It's all decked out. It's got subwoofers on it. And then he rides to... I think we get a flashback to the team. No, he's driving, and everybody's, "Peacemaker, we love you," and he's like a celebrity, and everybody is being super nice, and he even gets flashed, and so in the commercial when he says "best universe ever," that's right after being flashed. And then we cut to the gang in our DCU universe, and they're all hungover as shit, and Vigilante is being silly about, I think Vigilante is unfortunately probably going to be a small part of this season. I know people love him so much, including myself, but we haven't even gotten him in costume yet. And I think the parallel universe version of Vigilante is going to be the opposite of him. A psychopath, but not as caring, not as Vigilante's all about just wants to hang out with his best friend, and I think we're gonna get a psychopath that does not give a shit, who is lost and has no friends. that's my predictions for the Vigilante. We'll see if we get to see another Vigilante in the other universe. And Adebayo is questioning Harcourt about, Peacemaker stormed out of here last night. Like, what's up? And they basically have a conversation about how, like, when she met, she thought she was all put together, but now that she's gotten to know her, like, Harcourt is fucked up. And, like, Harcourt just, won't admit that and won't let her guard down. And just says me and Peacemaker will never work. Doesn't give a reason why, but just now we know what that means. And I honestly didn't predict this, which is crazy, because in the podcast episode, like episode 6, episode 7, they said that in this season there's going to be a reason revealed why Harcourt doesn't like Peacemaker. And I should have guessed that. I don't know why the hell I didn't. It was all right there. Go back to the other universe. I hate the Applebee's commercial, by the way. If you have HBO with ads, you know what Applebee's commercial I'm talking about. It's so cringy. Squirrel, sorry. Yeah, we go back to Peacemaker. He's meeting up with Harcourt, and we get Rick Flag Jr. in this universe, except instead of being in the Marines, he was part of the Army, and he's I would say more incompetent than the Rick Flag Jr. that we know. And so I guess him and Harcourt are dating, and he's just like being, paranoid and whatnot, and Peacemaker is just reliving the trauma of, like, killing this guy and whatnot. And it's a very interesting dynamic, and it was goofy to be able to see Joel embody such a silly character and version of Rick Flag. And he was actually on the companion podcast this episode, which was cool. But he's with Harcourt, and then her ex shows up, and then they're like, yeah, it's personal, we're going to go for a walk. So, like, imagine being him. Like, poor guy. Anyway, they go, her and Peacemaker talk, and they don't really talk about anything too deep, but we see this version of Harcourt is very smiley, very uppity. She, she insults Peacemaker at one point, but then says sorry, and just very uppity and the exact opposite of the Harcourt that we know. And basically they're walking through, we get the soundtrack this season is phenomenal so far. And they're walking through the field while a song by Ozzy, R.I.P. legend, that's playing, and the song actually really fits the moment because it's about dreaming and your life away, wanting to be somewhere else, but not recognizing the life that you have in front of you. So the song really fits the moment. And then while they're talking, they're discussing maybe getting back together, and she gives hints as to what Peacemaker 2 was like. Very arrogant, would get mad if she said he was driving bad, and that he cheated on her all the time. And it's funny that she brings up cheating as she's sitting here with a boyfriend talking about getting with another guy, but whatever. They, I guess, make plans to, see where it goes, because he says he wants to commit, but she's like, but you need to, really commit and actually know that you want this, instead of changing your mind 3 days later like the famous Chris Smith. And then we get a bombing from the what was it called, Sons of Liberty. And here's where we start to get details about this universe. First of all, not a single white person in this universe, okay? And I think the conversation about the imps that we got in episode 2, and him not referring to them as imps and whatnot, I think that's foreshadowing the fact that this version of Augie may have raised his sons and been more loving towards them, but still has the same ideologies as the Augie in the DCU. And we'll get to that more in a minute, but like I said in my episode 1 review, I something's up. I think they're evil, and anyway, the Sons of Liberty show up to bomb Argus, and that's, where Harcourt was working, where she can't work now in the other universe. And Peacemaker, we get a badass scene of him screwing them all up. And they make a comment when he goes in there that he doesn't have his, gadgets and whatnot on, which basically shows that Peacemaker 2, basically relied on all his tech and whatnot to fight. So I guess there are some advantages to having your father train you to be a killer from a young age. Jesus Christ. But this Peacemaker is actually a badass without all of his gadgets. He doesn't need all that. So he goes in there and saves the day, and there's some really cool kills. And, but then a moment that really stands out is his brother comes in and makes a helicopter explode with no mindfulness of the civilians around him. And so that was a big moment to me. I think everyone in this universe is evil. I think this version of Harcourt's evil because I think this version of Chris was evil. And that his family are evil. I can't put my finger on what it is they're doing, but they seem to be the only heroes in this universe. And as I pointed out, there doesn't seem to be any other ethnicities at all. It's just all white people. And I think my theory is Augie was actually a good dad and was caring to his boys, and instead of training them to be killers from a young age and them, having the tragic backstory that our Chris does, that he was loving towards them but raised them to be discriminatory. And I think this universe is a universe where they're evil, where I don't want to go as far as to say segregation might exist, but maybe they literally own. I don't know how deep it's going to go, but there's definitely something evil there. And also keep in mind that also means that Rick Flag Sr. in this parallel universe did not lose his son, which means he's not going to have anything, any animosity against Peacemaker, and I think that's going to come to play later too, but that was in the commercials. So and that's really all that happened in the episode. I feel like the episodes are getting shorter, and then we go back to our universe, and basically the team that got beat up by Eagly, they're in the ICU and everything, and freaking Agent Foley lies and says that Economos told him it was a duck, not a bald eagle, and kind of puts it on him. And so, he's called in, Economos is called in right away, and he goes, and so, what was her name? Sasha, I think, put together a team, and they're about to go to Peacemaker's house because she says that if he's in, possession of a dimensional portal, that's life behind bars. And she has an eagle killer, a trained eagle killer with her, played by Michael Rooker. He has literally been in everything James Gunn has made, from Slither on. And he voiced Bot number 5 in Superman. He has literally been in everything. And he uses Nathan Fillion a lot, too. He was in Slither, too. Slither, dude. If you guys are horror movie fans, that's James Gunn's directorial debut. I love that movie. Some of the special effects don't hold up the greatest, but there was a lot of practical work done. I think it's a very creepy movie, and I think it's great. But they're putting together a team, and now Michael Brooker is this trained eagle killer. If you kill Eagly, James Gunn, I will be upset. All right, why that would be so terrible. And basically, they're on their way to take Peacemaker down. Now, I don't really think it's fair. Like, he just inherited this from his dad. I don't really think that's a fair ground to just arrest him for life on. Like, yes, he should probably tell somebody about it, especially after learning what happened with Lex Luthor and whatnot. But still, I just don't really think that's fair to come at them the way that they are. But then again, Rick Flag Sr. has it out for him and whatnot. And that also kind of hints that Lex Luthor ain't getting out of jail. But then again, Man of Tomorrow just dropped, which is supposed to have Lex Luthor and Superman teaming up from what we understand. So, yeah, that's what the new Superman movie is called, in case you guys are wondering what the fuck I'm talking about. But anyway, they got a basically SWAT team about to go to Peacemaker's house, including Michael Brooker's character, the trained eagle killer, and they're sticking Economos with a new agent on the outside, Rip Jagger, who ends up being Judo Master from season 1, which is interesting. How is he working for Argus after partnering with the Butterflies? Interested to hear that, I guess. Anyway, as that's happening, Chris is coming back over to this dimension. So as he steps foot back into his house, that's where it ends, while the SWAT team is about to swarm him, and he has no idea. And the end credit song is a freaking banger, dude. I love it. I downloaded it. It's called Animal by... Hey Siri, play Animal. Shining. Animal by Shining. It's a banger. I like it a lot. James Gunn, dude. Every piece of work he does, there ends up being a song I like so much I download. Last season, it was Jawbreaker by The Cruel Intentions and Pretty Reckless Monster. So the song that's playing when Vigilante is slow-mo walking through the jail, and everybody's yelling in his face, and the song that's playing when all the butterflies attack the police station, and they're slow-mo walking with that creepy smile on their face, and the White Dragon is getting suited up. Those two songs are bangers. All of the songs are bangers, but yeah. And then the after-credit scene is just a silly scene of Vigilante taking off Economos' pants because he passed out drunk in the bathtub. Because earlier in the episode, Economos is like, "Where is my pants?" And Vigilante's like, "Oh, I washed them for you," and they're folded up on the counter. And instead of thanking him, because it's such a weird thing to do, he's just like, why would anyone do that? So that's what the end credit scene was. This episode's good. I love what we're setting up here. So many different things can go down. Like, this is gonna have a crazy... I think that the top trio are evil in some discriminatory way. And I think that Peacemaker is going to end up having to kill Keith. That this is going to be a very deep season for Chris. And I don't know. It could go so many different directions. But the fact that Harcourt was with Chris, if I'm right, and the top trio are evil, which it's getting pretty hinted at pretty hard, then that would mean Harcourt was evil too if she was married or not married with a guy, that was evil. So I think, like, basically every parallel version of the characters that we know and love in this series are not good in this universe. And I'm very anxious, like I said, to see how Vigilante is. I bet you he's just a straight up psychopath that has no friends. Because that's all Vigilante wants is friends. And so imagine if he went down not having any friends and that avenue. I think we're going to get a crazy ass Vigilante moment. But yeah, I'm enjoying it. I'm enjoying what they're setting up. It's been a decent season so far with a great soundtrack. Like I said in last week's review, because of the commercials gave so much away, I do feel like there's a lot of sitting around waiting. But I feel like we're finally there. Like, everything that we kind of knew in the commercials would happen, we're at. And so now, yeah, I'm very curious. Next episode's obviously gonna... How the hell is Chris gonna deal with the SWAT team? And, yeah, I'm liking it. It's very cool, enjoyable, and I can't recommend the podcast enough. It drops right after the episode, and they go in depth about it. James Gunn loves talking about it. He said this is his favorite project, and you can tell. I mean, I do think it's the most James Gunn show out of all the James Gunn shows. I mean, because all the music, he's hand-picking, and the blood, the violence, like, it is just very James Gunn-esque. The humor. There isn't a lot of humor this season. It is there, but I like that. I like that this is a more emotional, yeah. And, yeah, I'm digging it so far. I wish the episodes weren't shorter. So, usually they're about 45 to 48 minutes. This one was 38 minutes. That does include the credits. So, they are like 5 to 10 minute shorter, but I don't know, maybe it just feels that way because I'm so excited, and then it's like, oh, damn it, I gotta wait till next week. But yeah, so far I'm happy with it. I'm very curious where it's going, and appreciate you guys watching. Thank you, love you, and I'll see you hopefully tomorrow.